Shalom. First off, I want to give all honors, all glory, and all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone GMS, Ruel Shalom to the elect, beginning with the 144,000. This is the brother Halal from the Great Millstone Chicago camp, and this lesson is going to be on this scientist that has an Instagram page. I believe that the name or the handle is called Nature Jab, and basically, this is a Jake scientist / engineer that found out how to turn how to turn plastic into fuel that can actually be an alternative for gas, man, that you can actually use to fuel up your car. But, in this world, and especially in Babylon the Great, you come to find out that every, inventor or scientist or engineer, especially if they're an Israelite, whenever they come up with something that's actually helpful and conducive to the world and the environment, somehow, some way, they always end up, going mysteriously going missing, or they end up, dead. And this man, that found out how to turn plastic into fuel, this Jake, he is now claiming that he's under attack, in multiple different ways. So I'm going to let this video play. It's about 2 minutes long, and may this lesson be edifying as always.
Y'all, he said he's being watched and something is not right. This might be the last time we hear from him. And I'm not even trying to be funny. He posted a video saying keep him in y'all prayers. If y'all don't know who he is, go look him up. His name is Nature Jab. He the guy that made a machine that turns plastic into fuel, y'all. I'm talking about fuel that can run on your car, oil, gas, him. Y'all, look at the video.
Alright, listen everybody. I can't go into too much detail, but there is some very, very odd stuff going on. I'm certainly under attack right now in many different ways, and I just want everybody to know to just kind of have your eyes open. And I have my eyes open, but there's a lot going on. So I'm still working. I'm still building. Nothing's gonna stop that. But I'm just telling you guys right now, be on the lookout because I'm under attack.
I heard him. He being attacked. But by who? And by what? And why? Is it because he's turning plastic into fuel? I need y'all to think for a second. This man right here learned how to turn plastic into gasoline, into fuel, y'all. Without a lab, without $1 billion backed into his product, he did this shit on his own, using a microwave. He did this all in the comfort of his backyard.
And that right there really shows you how talented Salaki, that right there really shows you how talented, our people really are. This man didn't need a lab. He didn't need the modern technology that scientists use in order to create new innovative things. All he needed was his own backyard, and a couple of products that he hand built in order to convert plastic into gas. And now he's claiming to be under attack, man. So this right here shows you, no matter what position we obtain in this world as Israelites, we'll always be looked down upon, man, and hated. Whether we end up being a ball player, real estate agent, any possible thing that you can name, there's always going to be criticism and people that actually want to see you fall, man. And this right here is just one of many examples. But I want to start off with the book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 13. And it says, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his savor, Salakia, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thence forth good for nothing, but to be cast out and trodden under the foot of men. And us Israelites, we represent the salt of the earth. You know, the only reason we fail is because we disobeyed Yahweh Bashim Shai. You know, and now we're being raised up in these rough, dangerous ghettos and slums, and we don't have access to the tools that we once had, man. We don't know the ancient customs. You know, we haven't really been brought up in well-funded schools, which results in Jake, you know, being of a lower caliber than Esau and these other heathen nations that grow up in better environments, you know. But yet Jake is still able to find a way to capitalize off of whatever they're given, you know, and abound and expand. Next scripture I want to get, this is the book of Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 16. And it says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. And there are many things that our people have created. You know, one of many is the traffic light. Matter of fact, I want to pull up something real quick and go to my evidence folder. I said this from dailyhive.com, and it's called 120 things you probably didn't know were created by Israelite inventors. And it starts off by saying it's difficult to imagine a world without many inventions of the Israelites. This History Month, we've highlighted over 100 inventions that the world would not have if it were not for Israelite inventors. And then it says, what, the folding cabinet by Sarah Goody, potato chips by George Crumb, the gas mask by Garrett Foreman, protective mailbox, even a traffic light. So there are many things that our people have created, you know, and Esau has found a way to make a profit off of all those things, man. And when he can't make profit off of them, this is what ends up happening.
There was a video about a guy who created a car that runs on water. Apparently had a viable engine and it was really working. Turned water into hydrogen fuel efficiently enough to drive his dune buggy cross country on 20 gallons straight from the tap. And then he had a heart attack. As he was dying, he was saying, "They killed me." There was a video about a guy who created There was a video about a guy who created a car that runs on water. Apparently had a viable engine and it was really working. Turned water into hydrogen fuel efficiently enough to drive his dune buggy cross country on 20 gallons straight from the tap. And then he had a heart attack. As he was dying, he was saying, "They killed me." There was a
So you had a man that was able to make a car that ran solely on water. You know, no gasoline, none of that other stuff needed. And he ended up dying. And as he was, you know, fading away, you know, he said, quote unquote, "They killed me," which means more than likely they probably, you know, poisoned him or spiked his drink with some type of drug, you know, some fatal drug, man. But this just shows you whenever, because in Esau's pharmaceutical industry, you know, in industries that revolve around things that people have to buy, especially when it comes to big pharma companies, sickness is the business, man. And what Esau likes to do is that he likes to sell you a cure that never really treats you or actually gets rid of the ailment that you have, but it only treats the symptoms. And then when people stop using the drug-based medication, they end up going through withdrawals, man. And they start going crazy. But in Esau's world, sickness and suffering is the biggest profit, and it is a business. And they make money off of the suffering of the people. Therefore, when you have an inventor that actually creates something that's conducive to the planet and can actually help to improve people's lives, you know, that means that they can't make as much money as they were before. And that's what leads to situations like this, when you have, especially our people, that come up with new inventions, and now they're claiming to be under attack, man. And Lord only knows, you know, what this man is going through right now, just off of the simple fact that he created something that Esau, that would be bad for Esau's business. So I'm going to let this video play out fully into the end.
invent. He did this shit on his own using a microwave. He did this all in the comfort of his backyard. Let me ask y'all this. Do y'all notice that every time someone invents something that can be groundbreaking, that can be used globally, that can help us, why do they always go missing somehow or just be silenced? I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to him. I'm just saying why. I need everybody to share this. We need eyes on this situation right now. We can't let nothing happen to this man.
Yeah, so this is truly a very evil world that we live in, man. And you have this man, Anthony Fauci, who was key in the development of social distancing. I went to Chat GPT and asked what were some of the things that he did that affected the people. And these are the options that it gave me. It said, number one, shifting guidance on masks. In early 2020, Anthony Fauci and other health officials said that the general public didn't need to wear masks. He later changed his stance, strongly urging mask use. Some say that this early advice misled the public and was done to preserve masks for health workers. And it says Fauci's NIH agency helped fund research through Eco Health Alliance, which involved in C-19s in Wuhan. Critics argued that this may have been gain of function research, which enhances a virus's transmissibility or virulence in lab settings. And then you go down to the end, it says Fauci has defenders who credit him with saving lives through sound scientific advice, and critics who blame him for policy mistakes that harm society or lack transparency. So you had this man, Anthony Fauci, whose policies affected the living situations of many Americans, man. And there's a statement that I'm going to play in this video where this man straight up said that you need to make it harder for people to live from day to day in order to urge them to get the C-19 shot. And then, after people started getting the shots in high numbers, all of a sudden, all these people start dropping dead. And what was the common denominator? Blood clots.
Teach you how to day trade in under 2 minutes. So a few little terminologies.
You said in an interview that you gave as part of an audiobook written by Michael Specter that you believed an institutional should make it hard for people to live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
You think can be done about it? I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that term.
Once people feel in
And all this stuff is being used for fair use, under the copyright section 107.
empowered and protected legally, you were going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
Thank you. Are all objections to COVID vaccinations ideological bullshit, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and
Thank
that's
you.
not what I was.
So in that policy, that he the things that he said about making it harder for people to live and work from day to day just to pressure them to take the C-19 shot led to many people, dropping dead. And their bodies being found with blood clots all over. And then in the comments, you say that he's committing crimes against humanity, and he has. And this man, Dr. Anthony Fauci, he just recently got pardoned by the Biden administration, I believe January of this year, if I'm not mistaken. But you got people in the comments saying that the truth always comes to the surface. That's what Luke 8:17. People calling him evil personified. And in Esau Edom, the devil, he is indeed evil personified, man. So I want to get the book of let's get the book of Psalms chapter 37. In verse 12, it says, the wicked plot against the just and gnash upon him with his teeth. And I'm not saying that Israelite inventor, Julian, the one that turned plastic into fuel, I'm not saying that he's righteous necessarily. We don't know whether or not he's serving the Lord. And if so, may the Lord have mercy on him. He does have those dreads in his head. But the scripture said what? The wicked plot against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. So Esau Edom is constantly trying to find ways to oppress the righteous in the world, and really to oppress all those who oppose his evil decrees that he's trying to push forth. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and verse 27. And it says, an unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. Because although this is, the lesson was based upon what the scientists was going through, this can also apply to us as well, because our lives are at risk, man, because we're exposing Esau Edom, and all of the wickedness that he's done. Now they're trying to hide the Epstein files. The billionaire who had an entire island dedicated to doing unspeakable things to children. These people are being exposed, man. But what did it say? It said what? The righteous is an abomination to the wicked, and the wicked is an abomination to the righteous. And if the wicked are in power, what do you think they're gonna do? They're ultimately gonna find ways to try to oppress the righteous, man. And those that are what? Clean contrary to their ways. And that leads me to the book of Wisdom of Solomon. Let's see. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 10. And this is the mindset of Esau, man. It says, let us oppress, Salakia, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our the offending of the law, and objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. And we are looked at as an abomination to Esau Edom, because we're clean contrary to his ways. And not only us, but even in a worldly aspect, these worldly people that try to help the world and try to actually create something that's important that can help people and improve their lives, that is all clean contrary to what Esau Edom wants, man. Because he ultimately wants to set up a new world order in which the entire world will have to be chipped, and basically bring back slavery, man. People being subjected to their rule and having to do whatever they want. That's why, everything that Trump and these people are doing is against the Constitution, because really, these people want to get rid of the Constitution. They want all of us to bow down to them and look up to them as their Lord. They want to become God, man. And that's not going to happen. Verse 13, it says, he professeth to have the knowledge of the Most High, and he calleth himself a child of the Lord. And that's them talking about us. Them pointing out how we call ourselves the children of the Lord, and which we are. Everything that we go through, the curses, us waking up, this all proves that we are the children of the Lord, that we are the true Israelites. That our ancestors were the people that walked through the Red Sea that Moses parted. All those thousands of years ago. Verse 14, he was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us. Behold, for his life is not like other men's, his ways are of another fashion. And that's right, man. We have been given laws, statutes, and commandments and wisdom that is unlike anything that this world has ever seen and never will see again. Like the scriptures say, we have been given a mouth that our enemies cannot gainsay nor resist, man. Verse 16, we are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that the Most High is his Father. This next verse is the main point. It says, let us see if his words be true. Let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. So one day, Esau Edom is going to send, his troops to come snatch us up, to see whether we truly are the children of the Lord, because our ways are completely contrary to the wicked agenda that he wants to push. And Yahweh Bashim Shai, he'll deliver his elect in that day. Verse 18, for if the just man be the son of the Most High, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies, man. And we know that in the end, some brothers may have to die, get put to death, get put in the guillotine, go through various torments. But, hey, the Lord will deliver the same way he delivered us out of the first Egypt and the first Exodus. This right here, the deliverance from Babylon the Great, this will be the second Exodus, man. And this will be the greatest deliverance that the world has ever seen. So I hope this lesson is edifying. And with that, I'm going to give all honor, all glory, and all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone GMS, Kwam Yasharala, Wa Abba Babal.